right, I think I got this. I'm just checking to be sure that it's getting through on the phone and all the other little stuff seems to be working okay. So let me put me back on here. I hit the wrong thing. Cancel that. Okay, I think I'm here now. Okay, good. All right, sounding good. Oh, Terrence, you said I'm frozen? Am I frozen, guys, or can you see me? Okay. Everything moving? You might have thought maybe it's, oh, I know what you thought. I had a screenshot on there saying we're getting ready to start. That's what you were seeing, Terrence. You were seeing that. That's just a screenshot. Okay, so we're all good. I'm assuming everything. Okay, good. Okay, cool. I'll check with people to be sure they could hear it on the phone and everything. Seems to be okay. So we are going to go ahead and get rolling now. Let me click this. All right. I want to welcome you again. This is an encore presentation of what we did the other day. In case you missed it, or if you're just back on here, I went real quickly to go through giving you some of my tips and thought processes and techniques and unique ways of approaching how to deal with vocals, how to deal with drums, how to deal with low end and bass, and how to inject some fatness in there. Today is basically going to be like a laser coaching micro webinar or whatever you want to call it, but I'm going to move fast. In fact, I've got my little timer here to keep me on point, because what I found out is you guys kind of really, when I was doing the 90-minute ones, that was a bit too much for a lot of people. While they may have enjoyed everything, a lot of people ended up having to do something. So I said, well, let me figure out a way to do this a little bit more digestible chunks. So I'm going to put on my timer here. And what I am going to do, is go through two 20-minute chunks, two segments of 20 minutes to keep me on point, keep me moving. When I hear this ring and go off, that'll let me know, okay, Khaliq, you better wrap it up in another 20 minutes, whatever you're trying to get through, and move fast. So I want you to take some notes. I want you to, more importantly, get some epiphanies in your mind about how you can work with some of these things that I'm telling you on what you're doing now. Now, today, okay, first of all, let you know, today I told you what the purpose is and my objective for today, basically. But, if you're already if you've been doing this for like a long time or whatever, you've probably heard a lot of these things I'm going to mention today. You might want to rethink it if it hasn't gotten you to where you want to be, if it hasn't gotten you in the doors you wanted to get into, and if it hasn't gotten you the results that you want, you might want to think and go back in your mind and rethink some of these things, because they are basic, but a lot of people skip over them. Maybe it's like it's too elementary to deal with. And what I got to tell you is one of the biggest epiphanies that I found out as I went on is it's always about the fundamentals. It's the same thing. I'm sure you've heard that. Any of you, the guys that watch football or basketball or any kind of sports or whatever, and the coaches are always reminding their players that no matter how good you are, you've got to have good, solid fundamentals. It's about fundamentals. If you don't have solid fundamentals, then everything else is going to fall apart at some point. Even if you maybe have a few slam dunks and get through and have some great breakout sessions and games or whatever it is, and you may have one success, but to have it consistent happen and where you can be around for a long time, which is what I want for you, you got to have good, solid foundational things that you deal with. This is what I'm going to be providing to you, because I want you to go back and think, no matter how long you've been doing this, it's like, whoa, maybe I'm moving too fast on some things. Maybe you're jumping in too fast with EQ. Maybe you're EQing and putting compression and all these things. You got your little perfect stack of plugins that you're putting on, or hardware, whatever it is, and you put it on automatically, and you stopped listening first. That's the key. So I'm going to take you back through a few things and show you how powerful going back to this thought process is, and how it will free you up of having to do too many resources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set my little timer here for 20 seconds. Let me set this up. Not 20 seconds, 20 minutes. And then we're going to dive right in, and I'm just going to move and give you as much value as I can. Now, here's something I want you to know too, because I'm moving fast too, and be sure it's okay with you guys, because a lot of you are already in. Some of you guys this is going to be some of the things that we cover inside of Mixing Academy. Those of you that are on here that are new and haven't seen or heard this presentation, I put together a special offer to make you be able to get in with the people that are already on here that are already part of Mixing Academy. So this is going to be something that you'll be able to get in for a very, very low reasonable thing, and I'll tell you more about that. But I want to let you know, and if it's okay for me to present that, I'm going to give you a lot of value now without you having to think about anything. But I want you to stick around till the end so that you can hear the special offer that I have for you. It's unlike anything I've ever done. You stick around, I think you'll enjoy it to get further training from me. So I'm going to hit this now, and so we're starting our 20 minutes. We're going to roll here and go through this. And one of the first things today is today's objective is I want to show you, like I said, my unique approach for getting spectacular vocal sounds and bass, low end, getting the drums pounding, getting fatness and richness, wideness and depth and things like that. They all go back to a lot of different little fundamental things that a lot of people skip over. And like I said, this is going to be basically a micro webinar kind of lasting for less than an hour. I'm going to try to get it in around 45 minutes if I can. 45, 50 minutes, I think, is a good amount of time. And then I can answer any questions afterwards. We're going to move fast, so write things down. I'm repeating what I said. And first, the agenda that I'm going to go through, I'm going to call up a song we've been working on in Mixing Academy. Mixing Academy, we've been dealing with a few different things, but one main song, because it was dealing with vocals, and vocals seem to be the biggest stumbling block that people work with. I'm always getting things, Khaliq, I can't seem to find a way to sit my vocals right in the mix, or I can't find the right sound to make them powerful enough. They're getting swallowed up either by the band and the music, or either that or they're overwhelming. I turn it up so loud and then it sounds like they're two separate entities. I get these kind of questions and these problems come up all the time. Does that sound like something that you're struggling with? So if so, I'm going to show you a couple of ways to get into it. We're going to deal with the vocals first, but then after that, we're going to rinse and repeat the process by looking at the drums, because the same concepts can apply. You just have to shift the area that you're looking at as far as the frequency area and the and what it needs to do. Then we're going to do the same thing with the bass and the low end, which extends into the drums as well as the bass itself. Any instruments that have that, all that stuff that can possibly start piling up. Finally, we're going to explore how fatness plays into this as well. Fatness plays a big role because fatness can become muddiness if you're not careful. So you know, fatter and bigger is better in most cases, except when you need contrast. Okay, so I want you to remember that. So the thing is asking yourself the right questions. And if you ask yourself the right questions, you're going to be able to deal with this. Now, we don't have this on here, but when you go back, I may make some things available that you can download. So I have some, like inside of Mixing Academy, we have some worksheets and cheat sheets and handouts and things like that. So, you know, anytime you do these webinars with me or whatever, whether they're inside and you're a member or whether they're outside like this and you're free, if I have something for you to download it, print it out and use it. If you had some things in the past, print them out and use them to help you go through some of this stuff. Now on this, pay special attention to this vocal session that we're going to start talking about with, you know, getting spectacular vocals, drums, bass, fatness, or whatever. It means asking yourself some very specific questions. So I'm going to talk about the questions that I ask. One of the first questions that I ask is, what's the purpose? Okay, so we're going to be asking ourselves this question as I'm going to play this vocal track that I've been working on for one of my students, Joseph McNally. I'm going to be listening to the vocals. He's got a ton of vocals in here, probably about 40, 50 different vocals in this session. And I have to blend them all down to make them work. And so I'm asking myself, what's the purpose? Where should it sit in the mix? You know, then what kind of dynamic control is needed? And then I'm going to ask myself, what kind of space does it need to occupy? And then not finally, but then I'm going to ask about the panoramic placement, you know, going from left and right and front to back as well, you know. And then other questions I'm going to ask myself, what does it need more of? Then I'm going to also ask, what does it need less of? So let me show you, go over here inside the session, and then we're going to take a look at Pro Tools and take a look at what's going on with this stuff. Okay. Let me go over here, Pro Tools, and switch over for you guys so that you can see it, see my screen here. Okay. So this is a session by one of my students inside of Mixing Academy, and the song is called Good Enough. So anybody that's part of Mixing Academy, you know that you've seen this already. But in fact, let me show you. This is a whole bunch of different vocals in here. I've got some of these out of here, but let me bring these back in right now. And you can just see that this session is fairly sizable. The vocals start here and then go all the way over here, here, here. These are all still vocals, all still vocals, all still vocals. Still vocals, all the way over to here. Okay. So, that's a lot of vocal tracks to have to deal and blend. We have to make these all work together and sound cohesive. And most of these are background vocals and they're different parts. Now, they're not all playing at the same time, and in a lesson that I showed how to build it up, I started initially with all these vocals at mono. All the vocals started out. So like I said, asking myself what's the purpose, when I have the background vocals and the lead vocals, I start everybody out in mono, first of all, straight up and down in the center. And then I find out the purpose of where does it need to fit in just balance of the song. So the lead vocal in this type of song, the song is called Good Enough, and it's an inspirational type song. So it really just kind of is meant to lift you up and take you to a place where you feel good and positive about yourself. When everybody's trying to beat you down to the world and everything, you need to think that you are good enough to do anything and you can achieve anything. If you get smacked down and knocked down over and over, then just get back up and keep doing it, because you can do it if you keep trying. So I like the message of this song. The purpose of this song is to build and bolster you with that inspirational feeling that message is delivering. So in other words, it's not a dance song. Dance song can make you feel different in another way where it's physical and you want it. This is a mental and spiritual thing that gets inside of you. So the purpose of that and the purpose of this vocal, especially the lead vocal that's carrying the message, is to sit on top. Here's the music that's going to come in. It's got some very sparse music, but that lead vocal needs to be right on top. Now, it doesn't need to be so on top where it's separated. Okay, so sometimes you can have, this is a problem that a lot of people told me that they have, is a lot of times they say, I'll get my vocal loud enough where I'm hearing it and everything, but it sounds like the band is like way down here or way far back and disconnected. No, we want these guys glued together. So it doesn't matter, where you push it. They are just locked tight together, but that vocal's role, that purpose of that vocal is right there on top. Now, then we have the background vocals need to cradle that vocal. The background vocals are kind of like this, with the lead vocal right in the middle, and it's just holding it up in a bed, and it's out as wide as that bed needs to be, or as narrow or covering the whole spectrum. So I'm going to show you how I looked at some of this. Let me start out by playing you. I'm going to play his original reference that he sent me, so you can just kind of get an idea of this song. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I want to give you an idea. So let me play it here. First of all, let me stop real quick. Let me check in before I go and be sure. Can you guys hear that vocal okay? I just want to be sure everything's good before. I don't want to end up playing it for a long time and then suddenly find out, hey, Khaliq, we couldn't hear anything. So let me check in with the chat and just be sure. Okay. Could you hear everything? Okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I did. Well, it was actually raining a lot in Hawaii, but yeah, I guess I got a little bit of a tan. That's cool. Okay. All right, good. Okay, cool. I'm going to go back here and then let's play this sucker and let you hear it then. Get an idea of what he sent me. This is his reference. Winter's come along, hasn't gone away for a long time now. Summer used to last the whole year round. It's raining from my eyes, but I can't stop the tide from rolling in, covering over everything I have. When everything you do, it don't seem good enough, and every word you say, it don't mean a thing. With every step you take, you just keep falling down. Get back up on your feet, because you're good enough. Good enough, because you're good enough. Oh, you're good enough. Okay, so you get an idea of what's going on with that now. Now what I'm going to do is let me move forward, because it's amazing how fast time goes. 10 minutes is gone already, guys. So I got the blaze on this. Okay, so like I said, we got the vocals here, and we got all these tracks that are different parts of the vocals that right there that are highlighted there. But what I'm concentrating right now is I'm going to concentrate on this lead vocal here. That's the main vocal, and what is his purpose. And what I'm going to do is show you some of the things that I did to help lift out that purpose. You know, let me take off some of this stuff that I have here, and then I'll pop it on and let you see what's going on with it. Let me turn this, make that inactive, and then let me turn some of this stuff off here. Okay, let me bypass these two. Okay, so I'm gonna play this and let you hear the lead vocal. Winter's come along, hasn't I turned off everything that I had on there. Summer used to last the whole year round. So let me put a couple of these things back on. It's raining from my eyes, but I can't stop the tide from rolling in, covering over. Now, did you hear it get a little clearer and bigger as I did that? When everything you do, it don't seem good enough, and every word you say, it don't mean a thing. With every step you take, you just keep falling down. Get back up on your feet, because you're good enough. Good enough, because you're good enough. Oh, you're good enough. Okay, so now what I want to explain that I did, okay, so then we're going to talk about the purpose of this vocal. And I took all that stuff off to let you hear where I'm building towards and why I put this stuff on, and I'll explain it to you. And then the other thing I'm going to do is we're going to go and then translate that same thing to the background vocals and see what their purpose is, because I ended up treating them in a whole different way. Now, this presentation has moved on, because you're hearing it, you know, beyond the first part that I did, where I was showing you guys the setup. But my members, those of you that are on here right now, you guys that were in Mixing Academy, you told me it was real helpful for you to see where I went when I first started and how to get it going. And as we keep going through the classes, we'll progress to a final vocal sound. This is just the very beginnings of it. So anyway, let me go back over here and then talk about okay, what I did on that lead vocal, the purpose of that lead vocal, I wanted it to sit on top, like I mentioned. So I wanted to make sure it was clean and clear and everything. So right away, it's a vocal. I put this filter on this. I've got this EQ1 in Pro Tools, but any EQ will do that has a filter. And I'm filtering off the lows here. The lows are right here in this area with this filter at 86. Okay, so that's so you can see that right there. I'm just putting the filter on. Nothing else is on. Well, I got a couple of things here that I'll show you, but they're not really on, because you see everything's at 0 dB. But I experimented with a couple of things in there to see about dipping a couple of things out. I may go back to that later on, but I knew I didn't need this low end stuff because you know, we've got drums that are going to come in later, which I'll show you in another section, and a couple other things that are going to take up some low end there. So I want to still make sure that I didn't have any garbage in it I didn't need. Another thing that I have on there is this thing which is called the Sonox Oxford suppressor. And what this is this is just a de-esser, because when he's singing, if you listen to some of the words have different S sounds. And the S sounds, while this vocal was recorded really well, it sounds good. But there's a couple of things where it can become a little problem as I start clarifying this vocal and adding more EQ and things like that, which, by the way, right now I don't have. The vocal, like I said, is recorded relatively well. So I'm not really doing anything with any EQ or anything like that. I'm just using that suppressor to get rid of the messes. Then finally, I'm just putting on a Fairchild. Basically, this is a compressor limiter that's a tube emulation where it smooths things out, it rounds it out, it thickens it up and everything, like Fairchilds are known to do. It really has a nice quality that kind of makes this vocal sound warm. And so I'm just basically doing all that, knowing that later on I'm going to go for this vocal. I'm going to add some EQ on here that'll help bring out the presence and clarity of everything. But right now I just want it sounding decent in here and not have any weird problems, so that it can just take up the space that it needs to take up. I don't need to do a lot because there's not a lot of instrumentation on here. The instrumentation we have is the piano and the organ and a couple other little things. There's going to be some drums that are going to come in here, guitars, stuff like that. So a lot of mid-range stuff. So we have to make sure we deal with that and keep it out of the way of the vocal. The purpose of this song is that the vocals are going to be king on this song, that message. So everything else is subservient to the vocal, everything else. So this is why I start with this. If this song was more beat centric, I would start with the groove, and then I'd probably put the vocal in and find a good balance of where it is. But this song is just totally obvious that it needs to be vocals, 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 and any other instrumentation needs to be a secondary consideration, which is why I'm going to go after all that stuff last. I'm not worried about it, and making it fit in there. Except there's one part that I'll show you. So let me go. I'm going to show you. In fact, let me go back to his track for a second, and then I'm going to show you the part where the drums come in. Okay. I think it's about here. Maybe here. In my head, round and round. This is a bridge section. In my head, round and round. To the floor, turn the knock me down. Voices in my head, racing round and round. To the floor, turn the knock me down. Voices in my head, racing round and round. To the floor, they won't knock me down. Okay, so that is so that's very different than what the rest of the song was. The rest of the song is the rest of the song had just the pianos and the organ and stuff in there, so it's very light and everything. Then all of a sudden you got this beat coming in, pounding and everything, and it's a loop that has some things within the sample. We're going to examine what's in that loop, because that's going to be part of the drum things I talk about, the fatness things and all that. We will, my thought process on that is, even though it's a stereo loop or whatever, I want it to pound on that one beat that's in there. That I want that to be fat and rich, and just hit you, kill you, But the sample also has some high end thing in it that's rattling around. So I have to control that. Let me show you this real quick. I think it's over here. Voices in my head, racing round and round. Okay. Let me turn this stuff off. Okay, so as I was explaining when I did this previously on the previous one, I like that sample. I like it actually the way it is. It sounds good and everything. But let me explain why I'm what I'm doing on where the way I'm processing this, and I'm just starting the process. But my thought process is, like I said, everything is subservient to the vocal. So this is a very powerful sample. Hear all that little clinky stuff in that sample rattling around? That's very distracting. That pulls your ear too much to that, okay, and it takes it away from what the lead vocal was saying in there. I think the voice in my head going round and round, you know, uh, and I want to make sure that, you know, let's see, where is it? This way. Go. To the floor, turn the knock me down. Voices in my head racing round and round. To the floor, turn the knock me down. Okay, you know, so you hear what he's saying there and everything. So it's that when that came in, you can't really hear what the vocal's saying. And that's my first 20 minutes. So I'm gonna reset that and start it again for the next 20 minutes. Okay, but what's happening is it's taking too much. Taking too much attention, you know. So the biggest part of that loop is the kick part. So I want that to come out. That's where it needs to be more. But right now we're hearing that clink stuff. So I have to control that. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you this. And so what I did was I actually jumped. I'm jumping to this drum thing because, you know, like you said, this time is moving fast. So I'm going to move through this stuff fast. You know, I'll get into it deeper inside for you guys. But one of the first things I did was put this thing on there, the Oxford limiter, to make that come out on that drum. Voices in my head racing round and round. To the floor, turn the knock me down. So I put that on there. One of the other things I put on is the beat UBK. So there's compressing and adding a little saturation in there. You know. So we can hear that kick drum. You know, so we're hearing that a little bit more. And here's the problem area right here. And so I put this thing on, and I'm probably doing too much of it, but let me show you. You hear how that clank is going away? To the floor, trying to knock me down. Voices in my head racing round and round. To the floor, trying to knock me down. Voices in my head racing round and round. So that is we got some different things here. This thing is very interesting because you can pull in and out different parts of the frequency spectrum with this. If I move, to the floor, trying to knock me down. Voices in my head racing round and round. To the floor, trying to knock me down. Voices in my head racing round and round. To the floor, they will not turn it up a little bit so you can hear some of the stuff. Hear some of the different things coming out. That's all that stuff up in there. And every word you say don't mean a thing. With every step you take, you just keep. You hear that snare coming out there? Back up on your feet because you're good enough. You hear that stuff there? Good enough. Because you're good enough. Oh, you're good. So you hear that stuff coming out there from the snare in this area and that kick drum down in this area. And then that little high clink thing, I'm pulling some of that out. So that high clink thing, I want to, you know, make sure that it doesn't draw too much attention. So this is what I said, thinking about what's the purpose is. So within the drums and everything and getting that, then what I would do with these drums, so I'm working towards it right now, is to make those drums, like I said, get that kick part and that snare banging and everything. So what I'll do is I'll end up, once I find all these parts and get the general thing here, I might just gritty it up some more because I like that. I actually like it dirty. I want it to come in and be just like boom, boom, you know, I want it, but I don't want that high thing grating at you. It's too much. So I'm controlling that first, get that out there, and then as I build this out, I'm going to have that where that sucker's just pounding when it comes on. So it takes the song to a next level, you know. So that's the purpose of that loop, is to come in and put a little rhythm in there. But that little high thing is messing with the purpose of the vocal. So I have to control that. Okay. So I hope you get it. Let me check it back in with you guys and be sure that that's making sense with you real quick. Let me check back in and see what's up. Is that making sense with you guys? Let me know if that's making sense with what I'm saying here. Okay, I'm using Damon was asking, what are you using to help shape the sound you're seeking to develop? And what I'm using on there as far as EQ for this is by Brainworks. I'm part of Plugin Alliance, and Plugin Alliance has this thing by Brainworks called BX Pan EQ. Okay, and what it is it's an EQ where you can find the different things in the panorama and EQ just those areas, you know. So this is by knowing these tools like this and what I'm trying to achieve and everything. I can find just that right little thing, find just that little high clinky sound and pull it out a little bit, dial it back and everything. I can find just that snare sound that's within a stereo loop. Now we got a stereo loop, but I can find that snare and pop it out a little bit more and get the frequencies to jump and pop. I can find that kick drum and that little grunt there. And then that way I can bring all those things out the way I want. And then I can run them through another processor later, like I said, to grime it up, to make it hit a little bit harder. If I need to put some smack on, I can put some type of transient shapers on there and things like that. So all that stuff is coming. But this is where my mind is going, because I'm envisioning this, you know, right away, you know, because the song is kind of all started here and everything. Then all of a sudden, I want it to be a complete contrast. When that comes in, it's like, boom, you know, I just want it to come out of nowhere, just like it did. So when it comes, it's going to come for you. It doesn't just sound like, okay, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. I want it to be, oh, whoa, you know, and then it just, yeah, yeah. So I really feel like I'm good enough, you know. That's my purpose there. So that's what I help bring it out, okay? Okay. All right. If you got to take off, Charles, I'm glad you came in here. Check out. I'll let you guys know if I do a replay or whatever. But like I said, I've got a special offer for you that you might want to check out. So I'll be sending it out to you. You guys will be able to get in with me for as low as $12.25 or for one thing, and another one's just $37 to get started. You can get started with me for something that low. So stick around, because I want you to know this. Like I said, I'm going to let you know up front that there's a lot of stuff that I got for you, but I can't cram it all in this little bit of time. So I want you to continue on with me if you feel it'll help you. So anyway, enough about that. I'll tell you about that later. Let me go here and take a quick poll for a second and ask you guys a couple of questions, okay? Let me ask you, what's the single biggest problem that you face with vocals? Okay. Tell me, what's the single biggest problem you have with getting you know, working with your vocals, getting them to work in a mix? Hit me up and let me know, let me know, let me know. Getting them to sit in the mix properly it keeps coming up most of the time, you know. Sometimes people talk about some of the other things, you know, vocals being weak or sounding muddy or other things like that. But 99 times, you know, usually just getting them to sit right in the mix. You know, people usually can get a pretty decent sound now on their vocals. There's so many good tools. But when it comes time to finally mix it and sit it right in there, it's these questions I'm going to have you ask, you know. So, you know, we went through a couple of things. Okay, I'm gonna end that. Then that gives me an idea. Let me throw up another quick poll for you, and see what's going on. Okay, okay, I'm going to get on here and tell you something about. This is some of you that have been on here before. Do you know what my biggest vocal secret is? Because I've told this before. I want to see who's paying attention. Anybody who's been there. What's my biggest vocal secret? And really, it's pretty much for any. It's not just vocals, you know. And if you don't know this, you'll be surprised how simple it is. It's not really a secret. So I'm being a little tongue in cheek. But I want to see if most people know what's going on. And it seems like you do. I can't fool you, but a lot of people skip over it. So like, and I keep talking about this. Let me end this poll real quick. And my biggest vocal secret is starting with the faders and the panning and them doing everything in mono, getting levels as good as they can. And let me tell you another part of my secret too as well. My secret is this. What I end up doing is I end up making sure that I can find a way to send what I'm doing back to this iPhone and see what it sounds like, just coming over the iPhone speakers and coming over these earbuds that I have here. This is the real world. This is how everybody's listening now. So when I can hear what I need to hear on something that's this small, and they got this little tiny speaker built in here, if I can still hear my vocals nice and clear, but still hear a hint of the bass, still hear that the drums are kicking and punching through, hear that my vocals are clear and setting, but yet they don't leave the instruments. Everything sounding balanced coming through something like this. And if I can get that with panning and levels, I'm off to a great start, because it's like, okay, it sounds pretty balanced coming through here. It's working pretty decently. So now all I got to do is just get the EQs and the compression and all this stuff to really make everything sit in their place and get even more powerful. But the starting place is with those levels and pans. That's an exercise that you should do sometimes. Bind your hands. Make yourself have the constraint of not even messing with those things to see. Let me see how good I can get, good a mix I can get without using any EQs and compression or anything like that. Let me just try and mess around, Okay, so anyway, let me move it right along, because time moves. We got 10 more minutes. Let me show you a couple other things on here. Okay, so I close that. So my purpose on that vocal to get them out there is to have, like I said, I put these units here, and then that was the drums right there. We were on the drums and the vocals. I put these units here, so the EQ and stuff like that. That it was just filtering. I haven't even put no EQ on to get the high stuff out yet. So what I'm going to do now is mute this. Let's talk about the background vocals for a second and see what we got here. Because there's a lot of them over here, right? And let me go over here. Let's see, I think this is. Okay, so the good enough, they're just supporting the lead vocal. So like I said, their purpose is to support. They need to be the cradle, the seat, or whatever, and then that lead vocal needs to be sitting right in there, and they're just balanced, and then off to the sides and everything. So that's what I did. I initially started out with them up and down, straight up and down, and then I started listening to all the parts, hard left and right. I got a couple of them. Some of them are hard left and right. Some of them are brought in. One part I could tell, one of the things I did was the vocals. They had one vocalist sing a part and then double it. Then they had a group of vocalists, like maybe about 3 or more people, do that same part and then double it or triple it even. But sometimes the pitch was weird and off point. So I had to find the balance and strike the right balance between all of those, so that the center of the pitch would be right, but the width of all those extra voices would make it fat. So that's where we get into the fatness and we get into panorama. And then talking about what kind of space should it occupy. Let's go back over to here real quick and see. Now there's a couple of things. Now on these background vocals, I've got, well, let me start with go back to the lead vocal for a second. The lead vocal, I'm going to solo him and see.
Good enough because you're.
See, what I started out with that lead vocal was, let me mute this stuff for a second. Now I had the concept on the lead vocal. When I listened to it, when I first played it back to you, I like the message being right in your face, So with the message right in your face, the dry thing, nothing on it. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so now when I start thinking about, okay, how I'm gonna process it, then a lot of people, what they would do is they just dive in and say, okay, well, first thing, I got my lead vocals. Let me put some reverb on. So let's do that. And I picked out a couple of reverbs here. So I got this one reverb here.
Good enough.
So I'll put that through.
Good enough, because you're good enough. Oh, you're good enough.
Okay, so that's a decent sound of reverb, and that's this one here. That's the EMT 140 plate.
Good enough. Good enough.
So that's the EMT 140 plate, and it sounds good.
Oh, you're good.
Not bad. Okay, not bad vocal sound. Okay, but let's see what else we got going on here. Okay, I have another reverb here. This is my Oxford reverb by Sonox. It's another one of my favorite ones that I love, and I'm going to run it through that in a second. And then there's another. I have a third reverb on this song. This is by that same company, Plug-in Alliance. Brainworks is part of Plug-in Alliance. This is called BX Rooms. Room as MS actually, but I've got those as choices now. So if I go back over here and let's go back over here and check this out. Okay, so right now I had the
good enough.
That's the plate. Sounds good,
good
right?
Good enough.
Okay, that sounds good. So let me mute that real quick. And
good enough.
This is the Sonox now.
Good enough, because you're good enough.
Slightly different sound, a little thicker and bigger, a little more resonant or whatever, but not a bad sound. It's another choice. Here's the other one that I had.
Good enough.
This is the BX Room.
Good enough, because
by
you're
Brainworks.
good enough.
Real small and tiny and short. Not bad. But here's the thing, guys, that I want you to realize. This is a big thought process. A lot of people would stop and choose one of those and say, okay, sounds good, reverb sounds good, and put it on. Doing it here in solo, they put it on and just leave it. Okay, let's take it out and listen to it without anything.
Good enough.
Now I'm gonna put on the first one.
Because you're good enough.
Okay, that's with the plate now.
Good enough.
Still sounds good, right?
Good enough, because you're good.
Okay, it sounds pretty good. Let me put this next one on.
Good enough. Good enough, because you're good.
Sounds good, right? Still good. Okay, let's put this third one on here.
Good enough. Good enough, because you're good enough.
Okay, sounds good too. Which one do you go with? I had these three different choices here. Which one do you go with? They all sound pretty good. And listening in the track and everything, here's what you got to get back to. What's the purpose and everything? The purpose is that message that we're talking about. So what I did, surprisingly, is I didn't go with any of them. Here's what my mind told me. I didn't, while all the reverbs sound great and everything, for me, it didn't sound appropriate to fit the purpose of what this needed. So I decided, you know what? I don't think this needs reverb at all. What I think this needs is delay. So here's what I went with. And I'm still developing this.
Good enough. Good enough, because you're good.
Now what happens is I've got a delay on there, and it's very subtle. I put the delay right in back. I'll show you the difference that I have on there. But the purpose, like I said, is when I listened to it dry with nothing on it, I liked it. And it's right in your face, right up there, and just doing this thing. So to give it a little more depth and dimension, delay is what it needs, but still keep it right in your face. And still make it sound like it's dry. If you don't know that there's delay on there, it sounds like a dry vocal. So it still sounds in your face, but it has a character because this delay is doing some bouncing. Let me solo it for you.
Good enough.
You hear it?
Good enough, because you're good enough. Oh, you're good enough.
So
Don't give up.
So you hear how it's doing that kind of thing to carry over good enough. And what I want is the subliminal sound of the nuff to be carrying out. So certain other words he's doing that stretch out too. It's because you hear something and then your mind thinks about what they said. Okay, I get it, Then they hear something and they process it. Hear something and process it. So that's what those the delays are doing, because they're coming afterwards and they're trailing out afterwards. Your mind is subliminally replaying it because of those delays as well. Okay, so anyway, I did that, but that wasn't the only thing I did. Okay, once I did that, I decided, okay, now I've got the delay on there and it's doing this thing, but I still want it to be a little bit wider even. So I put this on here as well to fatten it a bit.
Good enough. Good enough. Because you're good enough. Oh, you're good enough.
Now, all these things are subtle. You may not have heard that really clearly, especially since we're streaming this over the internet. But what's happening is I put something in that widens it out on the side. We have the main sound in the center, and then it's supported by another sound on the side. So there's really 3 of those lead vocals happening on with that fatness thing I did, and it's a timbre that leads to the sound just getting a little thicker without it sounding like there's something obvious on it. Okay, and these are all subtle things, but they build up on each other. They stack on each other. That's the purpose, that I'm trying to go for. Okay, so I'm going to move on because I see I've got like 10 seconds now for about second 20. So let me move on and show you a couple other things real quick, and then what we're going to do is wrap this up. Let me check in with you guys again real quick and see what's going on. Okay, I'm moving pretty good here. All right, am I making sense to you guys? Is everything good so far? You are welcome, Joe. You are totally welcome. Yeah. Hey man, I appreciate you, and I'm gonna stick around, Joe, because I want to tell you I would love for you to get in with us on this thing. Let me send you another poll. Okay, I asked you about vocals before. Let me ask you about low end, real quick, and we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, what is the single biggest problem that you have with low end and bass and stuff like that? Okay. I've got, is it muddy and unclear, or is it thin and weak sounding bass, or is it something else? Just kind of give me an idea of what you guys run into as problems with your low end and bass. Okay. Thin and weak sounding bass is mainly what's coming up. Something else. Okay, cool. The something else. Oh, okay. Actually, it's actually splitting up now pretty evenly on everything. Okay. So I'm very curious to find out what the something else is. So what I'd love to do is if you're having problems with bass and low end or whatever, shoot me an email and tell me some things, because I'd love to know what that is that's becoming a stumbling block for you, and see if I can help you solve it on future trainings and everything. Okay, so okay, let me end that. But that was a nice even poll. Reset that. And then let me go over here and do one more thing, and then I'm going to talk about. Okay, let's go back over here and move on then. And I want to talk to you about. We talked about basically what kind of space it should occupy on that lead vocal. So let me go back over here to the background vocals, because they have a different purpose than the lead did. Okay, right? So let me go here and mute this lead vocal real quick. See? Okay, so let me solve that. So when I went on the lead vocals, here's the background vocals. That's how they are dry. Don't give up your dream. Okay, so that's the background vocals. Now, they have a different purpose than the lead, okay? They're to support the lead, So since they're to support the lead, I am widening them out I'm adding reverb, whereas I started out thinking about reverb on the lead vocal, but I changed my mind because I wanted a different purpose for the lead vocal to be right there on top, like I said. Now, these guys are going to be here with that lead vocal right there in the cradle. So this is how we achieve this with the background vocals going through reverb instead. So listen to the different things. Okay, this is dry. Let me put it in. This is the first one. Okay. Now see what I did on there too. When you hear that reverb come in there, after they say good enough, listen to the trail afterwards. Remember I told you that subliminal thing that's going through the mind? Good enough. And it stretch pulls you on. So it means even more. You're more good enough because I'm stretching you to think that way from what you're hearing subliminally, as opposed when it's on there. Good enough. Gone. Good enough. Okay, that's gone. Put it on. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough. See? Good enough. Okay, now that's one reverb. That's the 140 plate, the EMT plate. Now I also went through on that was the 140 plate. Now I went through Good enough. Good enough. So that's going through the because I have two reverbs on here. So the second one is going through that Sonox reverb. Okay, and that Sonox reverb, as I mentioned to you, is a little fatter and richer, and so that's part of what I want to do with when we talk about getting fatness and everything. The fatness in this reverb, along with the stretchiness of this other one, and the both of them together, they sound rich. Good enough. Good enough. Good enough. Nice and rich sounding on the reverb. And then I have this final thing down here. Good enough. And that's going to fatten it, okay? And what that's doing besides the reverb is I have, what was it? Don't give up. Good enough. So I'm going through my Eventide harmonizer here. So that's where I'm going through my harmonizer to widen them out and make them even fatter and richer on the sides. So anyway, I hope this gets you an idea of some of the things that you can do. This is like I said, I want to keep this quick and short laser coaching. So I'm going to wrap this up and everything. But I want to, if I gave you a little bit of help there in that quick little session there, is it okay that I tell you about the offer that I have for you that I mentioned in the beginning? Is everybody okay with that? If not, I'll just go ahead and end it here. But do you guys want to hear, those of you that are not part of Mixing Academy already, if you want to hear what I have for you as an easy way to get in, let me know. Let me go over here and check and be sure it's okay. Don't want to do anything without permission, and be sure. Okay. You guys want to hear it? Let me know. Does anybody not want to hear it? Let me know. Okay. All right. Okay. Good, good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop something in for you guys. I've got two different things that I want to pop in. Let me explain to you what I have here. I started Mixing Academy as a backup. This is something that I've had and I do periodically, where I do some training, easy to get in and get some different concentrated trainings on different things where you get a chance to watch over my shoulder and we get a chance to tackle some other things. Mixing Academy is a membership, but it's a fixed term. So what it is I have it as semester 1 is only 3 months. So that's 90 days that you get, or 12 weeks, however you want to count it, of training from me. And what I made it was very easy, where it's $37 a month for 3 months. So that means you can get started today for $37. I already have it pre-populated, and we're almost at the end of month semester one, but you'll be able to go in there and get started right away with the first month, and then second month and third month will come on. Only $37 per month. That's very easy fit for you and everything. And I'm going to pop that in right now so that you guys, if you think that's something that you want to get, let me hit that. It's 3 months of Mixing Academy, is semester one. 90 days worth of training, and I go in way more in depth into some of the things I'm doing, and in fact, some of this particular presentation that I'm doing now, and some other ones, and more that we have to come because we still have another month to go. I'm going to be populating in the area, so you'll get all of these things to be able to look at what I do and apply it to solving some of these problems. That's the biggest thing. I want you to be able to solve the issues, that you're facing when you can't figure out how can I sit what I'm doing right in the mix, or why is Khaliq using a certain type of reverb as opposed to something else? Well, I showed you why, as opposed to just popping a reverb on, or why did he use EQ but he in compression, but he hasn't put on any high end on the EQ or things like that. Well, I'm using it as a filter to solve problems first, and then I'll use it as a sculpting instrument later on, or put a different one on for that purpose. Little things like that you'll learn as you get in. These are the things that you can't learn in a 1 hour webinar or whatever, or even in video training. This just goes through things like this. You have to go with somebody for a bit of time. So 3 months is a decent amount of time, a fixed term membership to be with me, where you're only paying for 3 months and then that's it. It's not something that lasts forever. So, it's like, okay, I can afford that. And the reason why I can do it for so low is because it's a group training. I do the trainings and do the videos and populate them into the members area, and you get to watch them at your leisure. And then, it's easy for me because I don't have to keep reinventing the wheel on this stuff. All I got to do is just keep adding it out. So I think it's a win-win on both sides, But I also have another offer for you that if you think, oh, Khaliq, things are just tight right now and I can't do that for 3 months, I have another alternative offer that I'm getting ready to put in there, because I tried this and amazingly a few people felt that worked even better, just for where they were at. Maybe right after the holidays, you're having some tightness with your wallet or whatever. So I came up with something else that said, well, okay, how about this? If you want to get into Mixing Academy and get your feet wet and just go for 1 month, 4 weeks, give you 4 weeks of training. And what I will do is that I will break it up so that you can get started today for $12.25. And then you pay me $12.25 for a total of 4 times for 4 weeks, and we're done. $12.25 a week for 4 weeks. Heck, you probably spend, you can go to McDonald's and spend that easily on a meal. So once a week, pay me $12.25 for a total of 4 times. That equals out to be $49. And then you get the 4 weeks of Mixing Academy to get you going. Then later on, if you want to say, okay, well, I want the full 3 month semester, everything, then we can talk and then get it in, and I'll talk to you about, changing what you're doing over to it. But if you only want to do 1 month, that's fine. So what I'm going to do is now, if you wanted to get this, the 3 month thing right here, you can also find this by going to mixingacademy.com/3 months. If you after I pull this down, because I'm gonna pop the other one up in a second. Anybody that's watching this later, go to mixingacademy.com/3 months. And then it'll take you to a page to try to log in, but it'll also have a link on that page where it'll take you directly to the shopping cart where you can order it if you don't have a login already. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to remove that. Anybody that wants to get this 3 month one, get it now, because I'm going to remove it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then what I'm going to do is put in the 4 week one. Okay. Mixing Academy 4 weeks. Display that one. Okay. So this is the 4 week one. $12.25 gets you started today. And then you just pay that same amount for 3 more times and you're done. Okay, so I've been listening to you guys to find affordable ways of the training. As you see, I hold nothing back. I give you everything that I'm thinking of and not trying to hide anything from you. But this stuff takes time. It's tough, the subtleties and everything. So I want you to be a part of Mixing Academy and get in there. I'm also in the process of rebuilding the website, the membership site, because I've got some great things in store for you too that you're going to be want to be a part of. That is really going to be helpful. Plus, I've got some other announcements I want to tell you that I think is very exciting to me because I bought another platform that's going to allow me to help you guys get paid off of what I do. So I'll tell you more about that later on. But if you want to make some money off of me, then you'll be able to do this because what I want to do is help make this into a huge community and spread it. So I want to get you guys to be that know me and have been with my training to be my evangelists and to help me spread it. And for that too, you'll also be able to make some money off of it. For everybody that you get in, I will have a referral program that's coming very soon. I'm in the process of working it out now. So, if you need a little bit extra cash or whatever, it's just as easy as referring me to other musicians that and then you can make some cash if they go ahead and purchase. You'll get a commission on that. So I hope, is that exciting for you guys? Because a lot of people have asked me that, Khaliq, do you have any kind of commission program or referral program? I know a lot of people, but in fact, let me check over here in the chat and let me know, there's a referral program where you guys can make some money off of what I do, some of my trainings. If you refer it, you get some cash off of it. Is that something you're interested in? Let me know. Type it in and let me know if that works for you guys. Does that work for you guys? Type it in and let me know that you guys might want to deal with that because I'm going to work on setting this up. I'm buying the software, get in and Damon. Damon asked about some files for you to download as well. Yeah, you can, Damon, you can go to khaliqglover.com/cheat sheet to download my common problem frequencies cheat sheet. That's something that can help you as a good quick reference and cheat sheet for when you're mixing to go right to any kind of problems within EQ certain areas that come up all the time. And this will be a good reference. And then for this particular training, I didn't make any because it was a laser coaching training. I didn't have time to make any other handouts other than that, but you can get that one. That'll be very, very helpful to you, and just download that. Go to khaliqglover.com/cheat sheet and download that and use that as a handy reference. Okay. Cool. All right. Cool. So guys, that's what I have for you, and that's an easy way to get into Mixing Academy. I'm going to be doing some more things. I don't know how long I'll have these low prices like this down. Anybody that's been with me for a while, and some of you guys have been with me since like 2008. So do you remember? You guys remember I told you about Craig York, and one day the admin of Pensado students contacted me and said, Khaliq, you got to go check out the group. Somebody posted something about you. So I went in there and I was kind of like, whoa, what's that going on? Is somebody mad or something like that? And one of my students, Craig York, posted in there that he had just hit #1 with new music that they did for the group TLC. And he was just giving me all the credit for my training because he's been with me since 2008. And I was very shocked. I didn't ask him to do it or anything like that. It just popped out of the clear blue, and he gave me a huge shout out. He's also gotten stuff on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. He's gotten some of his music there, and commercials and other things. And even him and his boy, the team that he trained, got a job with my old boss, Prince. Prince liked their work ethic and how they were approaching and everything. And he gave me a lot of credit for them knowing how to go in and be good in a situation like that. So this is what I want to be able to do with you guys. I've got a lot of other success stories that I'm very proud of. I was just at the NAMM show last week too, and a guy came up to me and just told me, he pulled out his phone and said, Khaliq, like that Damon, that download that I just gave you, There's a guy that had something that I downloaded that I had, and he had it on his phone. He said, I carry it with me anywhere, everywhere, because when I have to do something, it's a reference, and he had it for years. So that's one of those things you can download it, keep it on your phone, and use it for years. But I'm very proud to be able to do that and help people. That's my goal here. So I want to make an easy way. Even though I have other things that are more expensive and higher end, I want to get the bulk of people to get in there. So I want you guys to help me to build out Mixing Academy as a community. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to start building up an area in the members area where we can all communicate more rather than you just going in and looking at your lessons. I want to maybe get in there sometimes and we can do some Q&A sessions, or maybe we can do some study sessions, whereas I have a concept of I want to maybe call up some hit records and then take them apart and see what made them sound the way they sound and put together. I've got some little tricks and everything that I can do where we can pull out some things, even though they're final mixes. We can isolate some things and pull some things out to kind of see what's going on. But we have to do something like that inside of the members area, because I can't do it out in public, or else Google and all the rest of them will, they won't like that. So we'll do that specifically just for educational purposes only, for us to learn from and talk amongst ourselves. So anyway, I'm going to end this because I didn't want to make this too long. So we're right on time, actually, really good. I said I wanted to keep this at about an hour, and we got started about a quarter after, I guess, about 10 after, quarter after. So we're right on time. Anyway, any final questions from anybody? And yeah, Damon, you're welcome. About BrainWorks is a great company. Plug-in Alliance is a great company that has a lot of different things on there. So just keep going. I don't know if you have been on any of my other ones, but just last month I did a thing for the Christmas webinar that we did, and I had a giveaway of 5 Plug-in Alliance plugins, which included the BrainWorks stuff and all that, since that's part of it. So we had 5 people win plugins that were worth like up to $300 each. So everybody, needless to say, was very happy. It's over $1,000 worth of stuff. So $1,500 to be exact. Okay. So anyway, okay, I guess that's about it. Unless anybody has any final things, we're going to wrap it up for today. Go ahead and join me on Mixing Academy, and I'll be doing some more webinars. I'll be doing something else next week as well. I may do a replay of this. I have to decide. I'm going to go back and check it out and see what I might need to edit and then post it up or everything. So anyway, be on the lookout for that if we do that. And I'll let you know. Okay, catch you guys later. Have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.